for your meditation.
Here's a man probably needs no introduction with that great Boeing bow tie, and I mean the way you're traveling, I think those shoes are seeing a lot of frequent flyer miles.
They have.
For Boeing balls, but of course we have here Trevor Dickinson from A-EON. Am I saying that right?
That's fine.
I have a tendency to mispronounce corporate names. I know I was yelled at once for mispronouncing At-Once as At Once. That ages me.
I used to call it At Once.
Yeah, I think everyone did.
Oh, okay.
That's great.
You just taught me something.
It's great that we have something in common.
So A-EON.
A-EON.
Just joking with you.
Which of course we love our 1200s, we love our 4000s, but if you are looking for a new Amiga, this is the guy that you got to come to.
Okay, thank you. Actually, we do make a lot of software now.
We'll get to that too.
Yeah. but actually, it's really strange. I started to write for Total Amiga magazine, a series called Amiga Retrospective, and it was supposed to be an articles about my Amiga collection, which was growing at the time, and then that transferred to Amiga Future after Total Amiga shut down. Amiga Future was a German magazine, and eventually they did an English and German version. So I was doing the Amiga models, just reviewing them, and it morphed into a whole series about the rise, fall, rebirth of the Amiga. And as I was reading, researching the story and going through it, I'd always been an Amigan, but suddenly I was drawn into all the highs, the lows. It was like some sort of strange, afternoon soap opera, And I thought I always wanted the Amiga 5000 because I had the Amiga 2, 3, 4.
Right.
I used them on my businesses. I wanted the 5. Commodore went bust, and of course that was really the end of the Amiga line as we knew it. So I'm doing all this research for the magazine article, and it just sucked me in. I thought, I wonder if we could actually create a new Amiga, a modern Amiga that's actually designed and developed for Amiga OS. This is our latest commercial product, and this is an Amiga 1 X5000. It's actually running a demo version of Daniel Musner's Tower 57. He created it especially for us for this show. So he's allowed us to show it, so you're free to film that. You've been playing it, what do you think about it?
That's awesome, oh my god, it was so much fun.
That brings me right back.
Little Chaos Engine. Yeah.
Right back.
It's pretty good though.
Oh, it's a great game. The graphics are nice, it's smooth, and it's running in a window.
It's running in a window.
Modern Amiga.
And the X5000 is actually very stable. It's running a long word. It's a pre-release version of Amiga 1, Amiga OS 4.1, Final Edition, Update 1, pre-release. Pre-release because it's for the X5000, and there's some more bell tweaks to be done to it. But generally it's really stable, and it shows the power of the X5000. I have to say, I'm sorry for my X1000, but my X5000 is now my Amiga 1 of choice, because it's just so much smoother. And the X1000 was no slow coach. Well, this is about $1,000 cheaper than the X1000. Yeah, so that's the number I use. So we really got the cost down on this one. 2 reasons. One, we got the cost down because the cost of the CPU is expensive but a lot lower. But 2, because of the software, we can leverage off the software and get some of the development costs back on the software. So we use software as a way of getting the cost down on hardware. It's still expensive, but for small volume production of a bespoke model, I think it's a fantastic price. Really, it should be a lot higher, but we want to sell them. Next to that, we've got an Amiga 1 A1222 beta tester. Ken's running Linux on it at the moment, Debian Linux. It does run Amiga OS 4.1 update, Final Edition Update 1, actually quite well. But because the beta version, Hyperion don't want to show it in demonstrating until it's up and running. Their worry is that trolls will pick it apart and have a go at the operating system, but to be honest, it runs really well. And I hope this will be out commercially by AmiWest this year. But it all depends on Hyperion and some of the drivers they're working on. It doesn't mean it's going to be this case, because the board's very small. The board's about that size. It's tiny. I want to make that almost at cost, manufacturing cost. So it's very attractive for someone to say, oh, okay, I can afford to pay for that. It doesn't really matter, I'll just buy it. And hopefully again use the AMI store and the software we're developing to get the money back through the software. Think of the printer analogy and the printer inks. They sell the hardware very cheap and they claw it back on the software. I don't think it would be quite like that, but the hardware will be as low as we can make it. We want it to be the lowest ever next generation Amiga cost-wise. Well, this is the A.L.I.C.E laptop, and actually I've got one of the developers here. Ken was one of the development team behind the A.L.I.C.E laptop, and he did a lot of work on actually the integration side, didn't you?
Pretty much did.
Yeah, he did all the integration. So A.L.I.C.E is obviously a laptop incorporating a classic experience. So it'll boot into AmiKit, directly into AmiKit. It'll boot in directly into OS4 Classic, or boot into Windows, where you can choose to run OS4 Classic under WinUE, which has some extra features and benefits. Under AmiKit, it has the ability, with a rabbit hole feature, to go down below into the Linux below it and run Linux programs like Firefox, Thunderbird, VLC, LibreOffice, but run within the AmiKit OS3 Classic environment. So you really feel that that's what you've got. And this is what I take with me as my laptop of choice now, even on Skype. But it's all obviously in the Linux side. It actually runs OS4 quite well under emulation, but under WinUE, and I've installed the enhancer software pack under it, the classic for OS4 Classic, and that runs pretty good as well. So, really good, and it's my laptop I use. It's emulation. What I really want is a PowerPC laptop.
So it's pretty amazing to think in 2017 that you could have 3 machines to choose from to buy to run Amiga when Commodore went out of business so long ago.
Well, it is quite amazing, and it's quite amazing. It's not just A.E.ON, it's the community as a whole have kept this thing going. And what I quite like is when I travel around the world now, I see a lot of younger guys, they're not all like me. Although if you see the Viva Amiga movie, you see a very good-looking younger guy with black hair. I guess it took so long to make that my hair went grey. Sorry, Zach. But it's good to see. And I look around here, and there's all sorts of people looking at this, all ages.
Right.
All right. Maybe their dads brought them along, or their granddads. I don't know. But it's good to see that.
Right, because that's what you need. You need the new people coming in. Just selling it to old guys like me.
We'll buy it, but you need more people.
Right. So how do you think it will be possible to rope in those people who don't have the history that you have with the Amiga, that I have with the Amiga?
It's a really good question, and I'll try to answer it this way. As I go around the shows, I see a lot of youngsters come in, and when the games are playing, they immediately go onto the Amiga and start playing the games, and whether it's next generation or classic. I think that as we bring in the cheaper models that are more accessible, you're going to see, and I am seeing younger Amigans. Well, when I say younger, I mean probably 20s and 30s. I don't mean 5s and 10s, but I am seeing them use the equipment and buying systems. And we're starting to get customers now who never ever had an Amiga. I can think of at least 5 people who never had an Amiga, but they bought the system because they thought it was cool. And it's part of that retro scene. Retro's big. Hence you get these vintage computer festivals. And not everyone wants this to be mainstream. They want to be a bit different. They want to try something different.
Do you think there's a little bit of that? Obviously, Mac is big, Windows is big. Do you think there might be a little bit of
Was there a Mac 30? Was there a Mac 30?
No.
No. Was there a Windows 30?
I don't think a lot of people who use those look back very much.
Exactly.
Is a good point.
Yeah. So we've got to, of course, we've got to make sure that we keep the energy with the Amiga users who want to stay. And that's why I don't like all the nonsense that goes around, the trolling, the infighting. To me, that's just counterproductive.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
It scares people away. So you can embrace all Amiga flavors, whether it's Amiga OS4, Classic, MorphOS, AROS, emulation, FPGA. To me, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Let's just be Amigans.
As long as you're having fun with it, as long as you're enjoying it.
And the more you create the Amiga flavor, the more we're in the news. I mean, that's why I put blogs out. I do the publicity stuff. I go to shows, and just to promote it. And 3 or 4 years ago, probably no one heard of much Next Generation really outside of the Amiga computer.
Right.
Now we're getting a little bit of mainstream traction.
And do you think there's a little bit of there's some people out there who just want something different?
Oh well, remember what did Apple say? Dare to be different. Mm-hmm. Well, they've stopped being different. They're just cool. And they charge for that coolness, but the difference is not really there. And I will say they've always been very restrictive. They control you, whereas Amiga's always been like Amigans. God, we just pull things apart. We try and do things the way they weren't supposed to be done.
Right.
We're very inventive, and I think that invention is really important, and that ability to actually look beyond what you're provided with is really important.
Let's go back a little bit. You say you actually use Amigas in your business. So what businesses were those?
Well, my first computer was a Commodore PET. So maybe that dates me a little bit. And of course I traded that in at the time because I couldn't afford to buy this brand new Commodore 64, which played international soccer. So that sucked me in. And then Commodore 128, Commodore 128D. And I think I've told the story before, but I was living in Texas at the time, and my 128D got zapped in a lightning strike.
Ouch.
Came in through the phone line and zapped the whole thing. So with the insurance money, I bought an Amiga 2000. And that's where Amiga's journey started. And at the same time, I changed jobs. In fact, I left the company I was working for, and me and a few partners started a new business. And in that business, I used Amigas for desktop publishing, for graphics work, for video production work. And I had 2000s, 3000s, and eventually 4000s in that business. And that's what we used for all the creative stuff.
Right, great. So now you decide you're going to start developing new hardware. So what was that process? What did you have to get together in order to be able to start doing that and doing that pretty successfully?
Well, the Amiga 1 X1000 was obviously the first Amiga we developed, and it was in collaboration with, to be honest, it was a collaboration with Ben Herman's Hyperion Entertainment. We set up a company in Belgium, which was funded by myself and a business partner of mine who'd been a business partner with me in other businesses. And we thought it'd be really good to try and develop a new Amiga. It was a learning experience for me. I ended up really running the company and really funding it all myself. So I couldn't, but it was successful, that's the main thing. Financially successful, no. It cost an awful lot of money, which was never recovered. Technically successful, yes. We got the beta test boards out, and eventually we got commercial boards out. And it was, from a technical point of view, it was very successful. But it taught me a lot about the Amiga market, what customers want, what they're willing to pay for, what they'll accept, what they won't accept. And unfortunately, in our Amiga world, we don't have the resources. We're not mainstream, so we don't have the user base or the technical resources to actually do things at a fast pace.
Right. So that's some of the challenges, obviously, in trying to develop brand new hardware for this platform.
Yeah. So when we did the X1000, we had a deal to buy CPUs from from PA Semi. PA Semi got bought by Apple. Apple shut down production. We couldn't get CPUs. In fact, we paid up to $1,000 each for CPUs at one stage. And we ate the cost of that because we wanted to get the boards out. So we looked for a replacement for the X1000, and that's what you see there, the X5000. And that's based on a Freescale CPU, dual core 5020, although there are quad core 5040s coming along too. And that has a 10-year support cycles, so we're not going to run out of CPUs for that.
Right. So now, of course, you develop a new machine, but it's obvious from knowing what your company's doing with buying the rights to certain pieces of software, you also see that in order to sell the hardware, you have to have software for people to run on.
The biggest issue with Amiga systems, next generation Amiga systems, is the lack of software. So we put a lot of focus and effort on software. We created AmiStore, which is like an on-computer store, which every time you start it up, goes to the website, checks all the updates, and then you can buy the stuff through AmiStore.
Right, so it basically brings the Amiga up to modern time. Every modern PC now has a store that handles all of your software purchases.
Exactly. So that's been very successful for us.
Right.
It's been successful for developers because they can sell their products through AmiStore and actually make sales. So that's good. We've also we've put together a development team. They're all volunteers. They're not. They work in their spare time, but they're paid. They're paid Amiga rates, but they're paid, which is the main thing. So they're paid for their work. So we've been working on the Enhancer software pack that adds a whole bunch of new features to OS 4. And we're about to bring out a new version of that, 1.3, which adds a lot of new capability. Again, it's a free update for existing users.
Nice.
One thing we also do is anything we're developing for OS 4, we're also trying to create it for OS 3. So we believe in the classic market. Don't call me classic. We believe in the classic market. Classic Amiga users are very loyal, and we're going to produce much more software for classic.
Right.
And hardware as well.
Really?
The Prisma Megamix card, which is selling like hotcakes, gives the classic Amiga the ability to play all the sound files, multitasking with Amiga Classic on 7 Hertz machines.
But it is pretty amazing that while you have these modern, and obviously you want to sell X5000, you're also supporting the people who still use their 4000, their 3000, their 2000. So obviously this nostalgia, this history is fully in your view.
Well, it is, because as I say, the Amiga users, I mean, they're still here. Well, when did Commodore go bust? 1994. Here we are, 2017, and Commodore users are still upgrading their Amigas.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a few myself, and you know, I
might have a couple.
Yeah, I think we're all a bit strange that way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What are your thoughts on where this all is going? Next steps?
Well, we're keen, obviously, for the next generation side to get more users. And so the next development, the Amiga 1 A1222, is meant to be, I'm going to say entry-level Amiga, but it's actually a mid-level Amiga 1, but at a very entry-level price. So we're going to try and make it the price as low as possible.
Right.
When I say low as possible, almost at cost, because I want the user base to grow.
Right. And it's very important, obviously, to get the user base, you get the software gets more users, more interest, more hardware sales.
And you can think of the printer analogy. If we can sell it at a low-cost piece of hardware, we can sell the software, and we can get some money back on the software.
Right, with the store now that Commodore didn't have at the time. Well, Commodore could have been making money off the software that was being sold for the Amiga.
They were really a hardware company, as we know.
Right, right. They were expecting to make money really
by selling
off
hardware over and over again.
Right.
Like they did with the Commodore 64.
All this energy that you have for the Amiga, it's just incredible to see someone come in and basically pick up the reins of these great people who came before, who developed those systems, the Dave Haney.
Well, as I say, standing on the shoulders of giants, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
It's you need to obviously have that energy to even try to do this. It's not. I can't even fathom what it takes to start a hardware company this day and age.
Well, of course, what we do is try and be lean. So it still takes a lot of money. That's the biggest issue, money. But you have to be very lean in the operation. You have to be able to pick good partners. So we had very good hardware partners in Varisys, and now called Ultra Varisys. And of course, their main job really is designing systems for defense contractors. So they're a pretty high-tech company.
You've picked up Personal Paint. Aladdin 4D, Image FX.
FX, Octamed. My only disappointment is, although we've got about 20, 25 developers working on it for us, not full time obviously, but in the evenings and weekends. Some do a bit more than that. Things move slowly. If we could afford to pay 25 developers to work full time, developers are expensive, as we know. But we are making inroads with Octamed. I hope to be that out next.
And of course, we all know. I mean, Octamed is big in the music for games, and that's what the Amiga was big in, was graphics, music. So you seem to are trying to cover all of the classic Amiga's strengths.
I mean, what I want to do is have all those upgraded, a minimum viable upgrade, so it actually looks, it's really modernized and upgraded. As we did with Personal Paint, we put a lot of work into that. So I want to do it with the other software we bought as well. Because to me, those classic titles are so Amiga. I mean, I had them all as a classic user. I still have them.
Great. So what do you have coming next?
Well, I mentioned enhancer software.
Yeah.
That's going to bring in quite a few new features. We're doing some quite exciting things on the graphics side. I don't want to say too much about that at the moment, but that's going to create some excitement among Amiga users, next generation Amiga users. We want to bring out the enhancer for OS4, for OS3 Classic, for emulation, and for some of these faster accelerator cards that are coming along, like Vampire.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really giving the classic user base a real boost.
Yeah.
So I'm particularly excited about that. I saw that demonstrated at AMI West last year, and it was really good.
This is a platform where someone who used it ends up making it.
Yeah.
Who would think of that in any other platform?
I don't know. I mean, if you asked me in 2007, before that, I had a meeting with Michael Batalana, and that's what led to me getting involved, that I'd be making Amigas in 2012, for example, let alone 2017, I wouldn't have believed you. It's just one of those things. But that's why I called that the Amiga 1 X5000, because I always wanted
the 5000.
Wait for the next one.
And is the next one you want a 6000? Oh. Oh, that's awesome.
I didn't say anything.
No, you didn't. Oh, thank you.
It's a pleasure. And it's really nice to meet you.
Great meeting you.
Also, Amiga Bill.